I am back again, and I am here to give you my take on the upcoming fight between McGregor and Khabib. And I can't wait to see it. It'll be happening tonight. Um, and let's see, I just don't know where to start, but let me give it a shot. Personally, as a fan, I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm gonna go with Khabib. I mean, he's undefeated, and I am a big fan of his ground and pound. Uh, I like the he's a master of his art, and it's hard to compete with someone who just ground and pounded, who just grinded on. He put everything he had into his craft. His entire life's been dedicated to his craft, and it's paid off. He's Khabib is right here, and everyone else is here. And when it comes to the ground, and when he takes you to the ground, it's it's just a wrap. Now, when it comes to Conor McGregor and the striking, if Conor McGregor is able to keep the fight on his feet, I I will give it to Conor McGregor. I will give it to Conor McGregor. It's obvious Conor McGregor would have it on his feet. No one has really seen high level striking from Khabib when it comes to standing. I am a skeptic about the champion when Khabib won the title, and everyone said he was exposed. Everyone was critiquing Khabib on his striking and whatnot. All I have to say is uh, Alaquenta, for a person who's supposed to be the better striker in that fight and was exposing Khabib, he ate a lot of jabs. I seen Alaquenta eat a lot of jabs. He must have been starving. He ate a lot of jabs, in my opinion. And then, in the post-fight interviews and everything of the sort, Alaquenta was sitting there and he couldn't even see out his eyes, saying, I want another rematch. I want a rematch. I'll get him next time." Not to say that Alaquenta couldn't do better, because it was on short notice, but still, I mean, maybe someone saw things differently, but I mean, I saw how they were critiquing how he was leading with his chin out and so forth, making a lot of mistakes that an elite striker wouldn't. But to me, it was more Khabib was just arrogant and more toying with Alaquenta. When Alaquenta was trying to land shots on Khabib, nothing really landed flush that made Khabib concerned. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't say that Khabib striking is overrated, but I would say it's something not to be estimated. But going up against Conor, all Khabib needs to do is be able to survive on his feet to get the takedown. And in a fight, if you don't have a strong takedown defense, you're going to the ground. And looking at the Chad Mendes fight, that was a very, very fast shoot. So I've never seen Khabib move that fast. There's a big difference between Chad Mendes shooting in on you and Khabib shooting in on you. No, it's like being hit by a bear, which is Khabib. You know, a bear rushing you and tackling you, or a tiger rushing you and tackling you. It's two different feelings. So, you know, when Chad Mendes, I can't see anyone being able to stop that takedown that Chad Mendes got on Conor McGregor. You know, that was brilliant. That was just, I know in his camp, he prepared nothing but for that takedown. And if he did not get burned out, I think it could have been a different fight. But Conor McGregor, he is a very intelligent fighter. So, you know, but the thing is, for Conor, he'll have to be able to keep it on his feet. And if he can keep it on his feet, I see Khabib's chin being put to the test. And you can only take so much punishment, especially with it being 5 rounds. You know, how much can you take before you just tap out? Like, for example, Chad Mendes. I mean, he had Conor on the ground just pounding on him, but technique won over brute strength. So, and Conor McGregor is a brown belt. Probably he has a possibility of becoming a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Probably sooner than we think. But see how things play out between Conor and Khabib. Because, I mean, his ground game is going to definitely be put to the test in this fight. And I don't believe his ground should be underestimated. But we've seen in the past what Khabib do to black belts in jiu-jitsu. And a lot of people are like, Khabib is a ground and pounder, but he don't know how to finish. And well, a lot of people don't know that Sambo is submission wrestling. It is a grappling art, and there is finishes in Sambo. I just personally believe that, from my standpoint, I just think Khabib, quoting Khabib, I want to break you. I will test your mettle. I will test your heart. I don't care about finishing. I just want to break you. Everyone he gets into a fight with, he says the same thing. He's not talking about knocking you out. He wants to take your spirit, your soul. He wants to shatter you. He wants to break everything. He wants to take your heart from you. This is Khabib's mindset. He wants to he doesn't want to knock you out. He doesn't want to beat you to a bloody pulp. He wants to break you. So, you know, as far as but like I said, Sambo is a finishing art. It's a mixture of striking and grappling and submissions. So like I know this also because I did Sambo at one point in time in my martial arts career. So I'm familiar with some of the basics when it comes to Sambo. So don't underestimate the fact that don't think that, I mean, this guy is ranked all over the world and when it comes to Sambo. So to be on that level, I'm sure he's able to submit somebody. But going up against a jiu-jitsu black belt and a jiu-jitsu brown belt, a submission probably won't come that easy. So, I mean, being able to finish a submission expert won't, in comparison to someone maybe like, let's say, Edison Barboza, who's primarily a striker, you know. So, you know, he may have a high skill in jiu-jitsu, but it's not his skill. You know, he's a striker. He's not known for his jiu-jitsu. But all right, and things to watch out for. Khabib coming forward, as you can tell, like, Conor is very fast, and he has knockout power. So if Khabib's going to come forward the entire fight, he's going to have to work that jab, and he's going to have to work that jab very smart. And shooting in recklessly, especially from long distances, is not a smart idea. If, like, for example, with Alaquenta, there were quite a few times where Khabib, I don't know if he was getting tired or he was just cocky, reckless, but he would shoot in from a very long distance. For me, from my experience, anyone who is outside of my arm or leg length reach, if you're out, let's put it this way, if you're outside of my leg reach and you go to shoot in, that is plenty of time for me to post up and defend myself from the takedown. That gives me too much time to defend myself because I see it coming. For someone as quick as Conor to do something that reckless, I believe it will make the night very short for Khabib. So, for Khabib, if he's going to close the distance, he needs to close the distance smart. Don't underestimate the hands of Conor McGregor. And Khabib's going to find out very soon in the first round how fast Conor McGregor's hands are. So, with that said, if he can make it past the first round, Conor's speed will drop. I see how Conor's been working that cardio in his camp and whatnot, but as fast as much cardio as he's doing, he has to prepare for the ground with Khabib. If he can't defend himself on the ground, he's going to lose that hand speed either way. After the first round, his speed's going to decline. Conor's known for not being able to maintain that power that he has in later rounds. When he goes up against another high-level fighter and has to go to distance, he's not able to maintain that same level of speed that you see in the first round. So it's vital for Khabib to be able to start working Conor in the beginning of the fight. But if Conor is also able to do what he did with Chad Mendes, which is defend himself and let Khabib do all the work, it's one thing for Khabib to take Conor to the ground. It's another to be doing all that work and not doing any damage. So, what's going to eventually happen is it's going to slow Khabib down. And that's exactly what happened to Chad Mendes, and it can happen to Khabib too. We're going to see more, and if I see the same thing again, that's just going to tell you how much better Conor is on the ground. So we'll find that out as well. I'm excited, and I can't wait to see this. Now, what Conor needs to do. The one thing that I see Conor, that he telegraphs it. He does it in every single fight he has. When Conor comes out, he comes out and he takes control of the octagon. He comes out and he always has himself in a karate stance when he comes forward. So, hands out into a karate stance, coming at Khabib. When he does this, this is a huge opportunity for Khabib. The only reason I'm saying that is the last thing you want to do is give Khabib the single leg at the beginning of the fight. You come straight at Khabib, go right into his range, and give him your leg. And if Conor does the same thing in this fight, and if Khabib's team seen that in all his videos, in all his fights, the first thing Conor does in all his fights, he rushes in a karate stance with his left leg forward, wide open for a takedown. So if he does that, Conor's more likely Conor's going to be taken down immediately in the beginning of the fight. He's going to walk right into a takedown. If Khabib's team prepare for that, I saw in some of Conor's training videos he was working on defense against a single leg. But the question is, why are you going to come straight at a grappling master who, I mean, you can look at his takedown accuracy and his takedown defense and compare it against Conor and look at Conor and be like, wow, Conor's better with the takedown accuracy and takedown defense. But you have to consider this too. Khabib's probably has more takedowns in one fight than Conor has in all his fights. So that's going to play a factor in this. Don't let the numbers fool you. Khabib has the better takedown accuracy. So let's just get that out of our heads. You may look at the numbers and it may look like it's in Conor's favor, but I'm pretty sure Khabib's taken down in one fight a body more than Conor has in all his fights. So if Conor comes forward like that recklessly still, and if he just runs up and gives Khabib his legs, he just pretty much just handed the fight over to him, So hopefully Um, in my opinion, the best thing for Conor to do, if he's going to come out, just go to the center. You know, instead of coming straight at Khabib, hurry up and rush to the center of the octagon, and then that allows Khabib to come to you. At least you can see it coming. If you want to come forward, just don't step right into the takedown. And then constantly moving at angles, which will prevent Khabib from setting up for the takedown. You know, and we all see how aggressive Khabib is. But takedowns take a lot of energy out of a fighter. Make Khabib chase you. Uh, Takedown attempts to let the attempts keep going and manage to stay on your feet, doing damages. Kind of likes to use the front leg side kick too. He's able to pick off, but the thing is, don't leave your leg out. Properly snapping the leg, popping Khabib, causing him popping the knees, popping the inside of the hip, popping the midsection like he was doing with Chad Mendez. This will knock the air out of Khabib, slowing him down. You know, this is probably one reason why Khabib's working in ATA too. You know, he's working with a lot of high-level strikers. But I honestly don't know how many. Khabib probably needs to be working with high-level kickboxers who are fighting at 145. I mean, if he's fighting with people like, you know, Luke Rockhold or Cain Velasquez, that's not going to do him much good. I mean, he's able to work with power, but he's not seeing he's not seeing a 155 fighter. A 155 fighter moves at different agility, different speed, and he's got to have the stamina to keep up with that. And if Khabib's training camp did not prepare him for a 155er to be able to strike with a 155er, Khabib's going to be gassed after the first round. So, you know, if Conor has his way and able to keep it on his feet, Khabib's not going to be able to go past the first round on his feet if he's not prepared to fight a 155er. And we're going to find that out too. You know, so, but if you want my opinion and you want to know who I think is going to win, I'm going to go with Khabib because the simple fact that there's just too much skill in Khabib. And I believe he has enough stand-up to get what he wants from Conor. A lot of people talk about Conor striking as far as his boxing. I'm sorry. I hate to say this. I am a huge MMA fan. But Conor, you cannot use, I'm just saying, Conor cannot, anybody who says Conor did good against Mayweather, I mean, they really don't understand boxing. They really don't have a clue. They don't know how to analyze the fight. If you watch the Mayweather fight, and especially if you watch how Mayweather done in all his fights in the past, Mayweather had absolutely no respect for Conor. He walked Conor down. He was playing around. He would go to his corner. He would sit down. You would look at, I mean, come on, after the first few rounds, you had Conor sitting there, they're pouring water all over Conor. Mayweather's, I mean, they're like, oh my God, Mayweather got an uppercut from Conor McGregor. He ate the uppercut and kept walking forward. I mean, it's boxing. Everybody has a puncher's chance, especially if the guy's walking you down. If Mayweather, that just shows Mayweather just walked Conor down. What's worse than getting caught by a McGregor uppercut? What's the worst thing about being caught by a McGregor uppercut? Walking into one. If that was somebody else, they would have been knocked out. They've been knocked unconscious. They've been out cold. Mayweather laughed. And what was worse? Conor McGregor throwing punches. And Mayweather sticking his chin out in the fight. I'm sorry, but anyone who thinks that McGregor can fight on a world-class level against a world-class boxer, they just don't know what they're talking about. I'm sorry. And Mayweather was, in my opinion, nice. If it was Canelo, if it was any of these sharks and monsters that are in the waters of boxing right now, Mayweather's enjoying money. He's taking money fights. And he's still undefeated. What do you think these other guys will do to Conor? And not just that, Conor's been out for like 2 years. He took a lot of shots to the head. And that's another thing too. Now, this is actually bringing up another thing I was thinking about as well. Going into this fight with Khabib, how strong is the chin of Conor McGregor? I mean, he did take a lot. He took a lot of damage in the Chad Mendes fight. He took a lot of shots to the head in the Chad Mendes fight. He took a lot of shots in the head he took a lot of damage in the fight with Nick Diaz. Both fights, he took shots to the head by Nick Diaz. And then he got TKO'd by Floyd Mayweather. He took a lot, in those 4 fights, he took a lot of shots. A lot. So, but the ones that are most particularly important are the last 3. So, the more damage you take to the head as a fighter, it shortens your career. Especially with the fact that once you get knocked out, it makes it more easier for you to get knocked out the next time. So, Conor going up against Khabib, Khabib may not be a high-level striker, but if he gets Conor to the ground, how much damage do you think he can take to the head? How much damage do you think he can take in this fight before it's a wrap? And, Conor made a lot of money, but at what cost? And, if Conor does end up losing this fight, what would be next for Conor? The only thing that makes sense would be Nick Diaz. a third fight with Nick Diaz. Hopefully, Nick Diaz wins this fight at Madison Square Garden. I think he's taking on what, Dustin Porter? Poirier? Dustin Porter? Yeah. So if Nick Diaz wins this fight, it may put him in a line for a title shot. So, you know, that can keep Conor McGregor. That fight can keep Conor McGregor relevant. But if he loses to Khabib, I mean, he can fight to hold the same pound for pound. You know, you can only talk so much, but if you're on a losing streak, you know, he's no longer backing anything up. So he has to win this fight to stay relevant. I mean, because then all he's doing is just talking. You know, at least he's got the money, but all he's doing is just talking now. So, I mean, the only thing that makes sense for him, for money and to stay in the title picture, would be to fight Nick Diaz. Well, Nate Diaz. All right. Well, once again, if the fight can stay on the feet, I see Conor winning it. But more than likely, it's not going to happen. Conor has to be prepared to fight off his back. But I see this fight being going 5 rounds. It's going to be a long night for Conor. And I give the fight to Khabib. There are other fights that I want to talk about, but it's late and it's too close. I'm rooting for Anthony Pettis for one. I'm going to say Felice Herring. I think she's too big for Michelle Waterson. Yeah. Whenever you see her fight someone who, technically on the feet, I would give it to Michelle. But like when you have women that hit like when you have women that hit like men, like Felice, she's one of them. No, come on. When you have women that hit like men, I don't see Michelle Waterson lasting that long. So, you know, I see it just dropping her skill. Like it's gonna throw her skill out the door. Like if Felice Herring comes in and just throwing bombs on Michelle Waterson. So what? The karate high. Now, if it goes into a technical fight on the feet, I can see Michelle winning it, especially with her. She has some very nice kicks. But I think Felice Herring is still a little bit higher in level, and plus, if she has to, she can take it to the ground too. But I'm gonna give that fight to Felice Herring. But I think, and now back to Anthony Pettis versus what is it? Tony Ferguson. Yes. I'm a huge Anthony Pettis fan, and I'm hoping that he wins it because I'm an Anthony Pettis fan. Nothing against Tony Ferguson. But here's the thing. Anthony Pettis has had problems with boxers, people who are very intelligent with their hands. Anyone who has good higher level boxing ability, they really hurt Pettis. They isolate his kicking ability, and he's stuck with nothing but boxing. It's like he's a fish out of water, and he doesn't know what to do. I don't, I don't, I don't think Anthony Pettis went through a hard time in his career. I just think that when it comes to the boxing ability, it's not on par with the top 10 in the 155 division. Because if you put him up against people who have a strong boxing ability, they do it exposes Anthony Pettis' striking ability. But when Anthony Pettis is able to utilize all his skill, both mix it up boxing and kicking together, and he's able to use distance and whatnot, he does good. And plus, he's able to take people to the ground. He's able to work off his back and things as well. But the thing is, I think Ferguson's gonna. I'm rooting for Pettis, but I don't know how he's gonna evolve his striking to keep up with Ferguson, who's been doing it as long as, probably longer than him. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. And Tony Ferguson, he just has too many skills, way too many skills. So it's just that it'll be. I mean, he's good on. He's very well rounded, and he's well rounded at a high level. So we'll see how good Anthony Pettis does with his boxing. Sergio Pettis will be fighting too. I think he's fighting in the undercard. So I hope he does well. But he's going up against a monster though. Yeah. Who came off I believe a huge knockout victory not too long ago, and now he's coming in Sergio Pettis. So see what happens then. But if I can't remember everybody else off the top of my head, but as far as the ones that come to mind right now, the people I'll be putting my money on: Khabib, Felicia Herring, and as a fan, Pettis, but on paper, Ferguson. All right. So, everybody, I'm gonna see if I'll be able to call the fight. I won't be showing it because I don't want to break any copyright, but I will try to do commentary while the fight's going on. So you all have a good night, and deuces. All right, and take it.